Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell are still available. And while you would expect their markets to be gaining momentum now that they're really the two best pieces that are available via the free agency market, now that Yamamoto is off the board, it doesn't seem to be the case. These pitchers are feeling the sting of the Yamamoto drop-off, number one, and the market situation with these RSNs. It is taking teams out of the running, and the Mets in a situation where they felt like Yamamoto or bust, and then after that, it's going to be deal hunting. So we're going to take a look at the markets for these two pitchers that certainly fit into the top of anyone's rotation, but who's going to get them? Comment down below. We have our 100 comment goal. Where do you think these players, where's Snell, where's Montgomery going to wind up? Make sure to hit that like if you're watching the premiere. We have our 100 like premiere goal, and that will help us, if we can exceed that, get close to the overall goal. If you enjoy your time here, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. So let's talk about what's going on and why things aren't really moving in a positive direction for Montgomery Snell. Is it the holidays? Is it the post-Yamamoto hangover? This is a big element here. The regional sports networks are affecting Major League Baseball. The Padres got to get their budget under $200 million. That's not even luxury tax level. That's just below $200 million. You've got a Rangers team that is looking at about maybe $100 million that could be lost with their Bally Sports deal annually. So these are some significant dollars that are going to impact how the teams are operating, because there's those two, the Rangers and the Guardians this year, and the Padres and the Diamondbacks last year, and the Twins deal just ended. There are teams all over the place, and it's not just Bally. The Mariners are dealing with it with Root. There are teams up and down the board that are dealing with this, and it's impacting the markets. Also, the markets, and then there's Yamamoto. You almost thought, and maybe this is how it would have been in years past, that if your team was in on Yoshinobu Yamamoto and was ready to spend the dollars on him, that they would then pivot to somebody like Montgomery or Snell if they missed out, because we know the Yamamoto frenzy was strong with the Red Sox and the Phillies and the Mets and the Yankees and the Giants all trying to get in there, and the Dodgers ultimately winning out. So wouldn't those finalists that missed out go strong for Yamamoto? Doesn't seem to be the case. So let's talk about each. Let's get into Jordan Montgomery real quick first. We'll start right here. Obviously, Texas was the prediction. I believe most people thought it would be the Texas Rangers when the season ended. However, this Bally Sports deal is playing a factor. They may not sign anybody to significant dollars, and if they do, they may have to make subsequent moves to follow that up to recoup some money. Now, the Bally thing's maybe a short-term hiccup where it only impacts them for a couple of years and then they find a resolution. But for right now, Jordan Montgomery's free agency and his return to Texas is in doubt because of it. The money situation in Texas could ultimately completely derail any chance of him heading back to the Rangers. And then you had the other two teams that were in the Yamamoto sweepstakes, certainly make a ton of sense for Jordan Montgomery, the Red Sox and the Mets. But the Red Sox just went out there and signed Lucas Giolito, and the Mets were interested in Lucas Giolito. That's where their eyes are set with Jordan Montgomery still available. That's not a good sign for Jordan Montgomery. Now, the dollars that Lucas Giolito got, that's a good sign for what Jordan Montgomery could get. But the fact that those two teams seem to be looking at the shorter-term deals, that's not good for Jordan Montgomery. Boston, New York, both lost out on Yamamoto, do not seem to be focused on Snell or Montgomery. And then there's the Baltimore Orioles. They need starting pitching, but we get back to their owner, John Angelos, and his reluctancy to spend money. They need starting pitching in the worst way. You have to be able to pitch to those powerful, potent lineups in October. They couldn't do that this past October, so changes have to be made. You can't just run the same rotation out there, but they're waiting. They're in a wait-and-see mode. Orioles would be a great destination. And then there's San Francisco. And this one I kind of like because San Francisco is aggressive. They have been trying to make splashes. They were in on Ohtani. They were in on Yamamoto. The last couple of years, they've been in on all the top free agents. And in my opinion, starting pitching is where the Giants have the greatest need at this point. After Logan Webb, it's a bunch of guys that belong at the back of a rotation. Anthony DeSclafani, if he pitches well, that's great. He should pitch well out of the number 4 spot, not out of the number 2 spot. We have to pair Webb with another ace, and I believe San Francisco, they understand that they may have to overpay free agents at the current time, so bring in Jordan Montgomery if you're the San Francisco Giants. This is almost playing out perfectly for Farhan to go out there and bring Montgomery or Snell in there because there are teams, the Mets, that look like they may sit out a big splashy signing for that rotation at this point. And then there are teams like the Red Sox that may be going more of a financial conservative approach. And then there's the teams that just aren't going to spend after missing out on Yamamoto. They're going to do something else. This is perfect for San Francisco. Blake Snell's the other one. And Blake Snell, certainly to the same effect, everything I just said about Jordan Montgomery and the Giants applies to Blake Snell and the Giants. So interchangeable here. You could go Blake Snell Giants as easily as you could go Jordan Montgomery and Giants. But could the Padres bring him back? The Padres, after moving Soto's contract, find themselves now where they're about $40 million that they could play with. What kind of a deal can we get Blake Snell done for if his market is coming down because there is not this robust number of teams in on him? If the Mets are sitting it out and the Dodgers are full and the Yankees have no interest and you start taking, and the Rangers aren't spending, you don't have those big market teams, all of a sudden Blake Snell's negotiating power comes down and down and down. Could you get Blake Snell back in San Diego? They need starting pitching, and I don't think, even with their financial situation, that the Padres want to sit out and watch in 2024. But the money, if you go get Blake Snell and you are hell-bent on $200 million and below, after you sign Blake Snell, doesn't give you a lot of room to do anything else unless you can find a trade partner for Jake Cronenworth, and I don't know if you necessarily find that trade partner. The Orioles, again, interchangeable part here, what we just said about Jordan Montgomery. This would be a very nice addition to the Baltimore Orioles rotation, but will John Angelo spend the money? I like the Cubs. I feel like the Cubs are another team, when you look at the payroll, when you look at the financial situation, the Chicago Cubs could go out there, bring Cody Bellinger back, and make a splash for Blake Snell or Jordan Montgomery or one of these top starting pitchers that are available. Takes that rotation from good, which it is with Steele and Tyone, Hendricks, Wicks, Assad. That's good, but it's not great. We're going to go for it. If you're going to spend the money you spent last year on Dansby Swanson, if you're going to bring Cody Bellinger back, you might as well go all in. Push the chips all in. Go for it. Add Blake Snell to the rotation. Steele and Snell at the top. Tyone, Hendricks, and Wicks or Assad, however you want to fill out the rest of the rotation. You're pulling together a rotation that will go for that NL Central crown and push for an October run. So you could see a Cubs fit here and a Giants fit out of all these teams that we're talking about. And one other element to this is what happens if Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery come to the realization that this is just a bad year for them to be out there on the market? That the best thing to do is to try to re-enter the market when the RSN situation is a little clearer. So we're talking 1-year deal or maybe 1 year with an extra option or a 2-year deal. Take a short-term deal because they could still be in position after the 2024 season. Let's say they had an option, opt out, and the RSNs, we're good now. We have a clear path on how that's going to play out. Blake Snell, Jordan Montgomery can get their peak contracts. And if that happens, I can see these two teams jumping into the fray. I think pretty much everybody, we just talked, you could throw the Mets in there, you could probably throw the Red Sox in there, but these two could get really aggressive if we get to a spot where these players may take a short-term contract to re-enter the market after the RSN situation once we have a clear path. The Atlanta Braves, they want to add. They want to improve their rotation. They're competing with the Dodgers in the National League, and the Dodgers are building a super rotation. The Braves need another piece if they're going to have a super rotation. And we're hearing Chris Getz wants the world back. Chris Getz is a maniac for what he wants, so that is now in question. You also have a Corbin Burns situation. If they trade for Corbin Burns, you got to try to work out an extension. That may not happen. You've got maybe some hurdles. Luis Castillo, maybe he's available. Logan Gilbert, maybe he's available, but what's the asking price? If one of these guys, or both of them, are open to short-term contracts, I would think they would jump. Same with the Yankees. Same with, again, a lot of the teams that we have on the board here. The Mets, Giants, Red Sox. You could throw in probably half the league if we get word that they're open for a short-term contract. But it's interesting how the market is playing out for these two. Top of the rotation guys can't seem to get a strong market going for them right now. Comment below. Where are they going? Do you want them on your team? Do you see this thing unraveling and they have to take a short-term contract? It's going to be fascinating to see how this plays out. I got to think we get some sort of resolution early in January, but who knows? Maybe this drags out. Again, if you're these guys and the market's not coming together because there's a financial element to this that is out of your control and the team's control, what do you do? Will be fascinating to see. Giants, Cubs, perfect opportunity for those two franchises specifically to jump and be aggressive and grab them because they, in my opinion, could give them the market dollar that they're coveting. Comment below again. Let me know what you think. Those watching the premiere, make sure to hit that like if you have not yet. If you're watching this on your time, didn't make the premiere, make sure to hit that like. Help us get to that overall like goal. And comment down below. We have our 100 comment goal. That's it for this one, everybody. I do appreciate you coming in and spending time with the channel. Ballcap Nation, I salute you. Happy New Year, everybody. In 2024, remember, if it's low, let it go. And if it's high, let it fly. I'll catch you next time.